Yes, sir, Gromies. What's going on? It's your boy Bob again, back with another one. We got Constant Evolution Genetics coming through today. Let's get them on here. Let's get them on here. See how quick we can get them on here. There we
What's
go.
going on?
What's going on, stranger?
Another day, another dollar. How are you doing, man?
Man, everything's good over here, man. Just getting excited more and more, man. I'm getting closer to ready to go ahead and all forth with these seeds, man, that I received from you, man.
Hell yeah, that's exciting. Hell yeah.
So I had no choice but to get you back on here so we could talk about it, man. You got so many genetics, man. And I'm trying to remember what I have, but I can't.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm the same way, man. Like I got so like I and the stuff I sent you is only a small portion of what I really, you know what I mean? Like I could, I can go on and on for days about all the shit that I made. But what I wanted to send you was the most recent stuff I made.
Right,
Something that nobody else has. You know what I mean?
right. And I'm gonna take care of them too, man. I'm about to grow the hell out of them, man. I just had to empty out the drawer because I don't want to have any bad feelings about things that I received beforehand. I don't know if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, yeah, it does definitely.
Trying to make it
So
right. You know what I mean?
I seen you popped your seeds for what, outdoor this year? Are you doing outdoor?
Yeah, doing some
So you,
outdoor.
I
Right.
saw you mixing soil up.
Right. I'm just when during the summertime, I just throw anything out there, man. I'm just
Yeah,
experimenting, what I mean, trying to make room for things,
yeah,
but I got some where I normally would do my regular seeds during the summer.
right.
I have more room to play around with, you know.
Right. Yeah, that's why I love outdoor, man. I'm in an apartment, so I don't really have like land of my own yet, but
Right.
I have buddies and whatnot that let me throw plants out at their house and whatnot,
That's
stuff
what's up.
like that. So I
Right.
love doing outdoor, man, because when you're running stuff inside, you only get to see how it does
Right.
inside. They perform different. They
Right.
come out totally different. They don't look
Right.
really anything alike. Sometimes you'll get some that look alike, but they grow completely different. Once they get kissed by that sun, it's a total different ball game.
Right. You 100% right, man. Like when I'm growing outside, I've grown plants at the same time, indoors and outdoor, and I
And
mean the flavor I can say at least stays within the plant, but the way the structure and
yeah,
the way the bugs come out, obviously they don't always come
yeah.
out the same.
And I mean,
You know.
especially in the Northeast, it's tough to grow out. It's tough to grow up here, man. Like, if you have a plant that goes longer than, if you start breaking into that late
Mm-hmm.
October, you're risking your whole crop.
Right.
Mold
Right.
and
Right.
mold and mildew. It's like
Right.
you got to have something that finishes quick.
Right.
And that's
Right.
that's another thing I'm working on too, is just trying to find stuff that finishes fast enough, to pull
Right.
by October 1. I want to
Right.
be out of the ground, harvested by October
Right.
1st.
Right.
And that's a whole
I'm
breeding.
also, but by having older plants, do you think that might push it to flower earlier?
You mean like more mature plants, like the plants have been alive for longer?
Right.
I do think that there's something to that. So I also think there's something to going out. So like how I start my outdoor plants is I'll go, germinate the seeds, solo cup them, and then go into a 1 gallon, and then in the 1 gallon, I'll keep them in there until they're ready to go outside. But by the time they're ready to go outside, they'll be root bounded, like, they're like dying to get out of
Right.
that 1 gallon pot.
Right.
And I don't know what it is, if that seems to like push them. They want to flower so bad and get out of that pot that almost triggers them, pre-triggers them
Right.
almost in a sense,
Right.
to like
Right. Right.
force them into that. Because what I'm learning is the earlier onset of flower, it doesn't necessarily have to finish faster at the end. You want to get an early onset of flower at the beginning, which then means you don't have to go as long in the season.
Right.
You want to have a plant that triggers into flower fast and doesn't like take its time to start flowering.
Right. Right.
So like,
For me,
and
I do for sure. Yep. For sure.
another thing I've been playing with too is lately I've been going out later and later in the season, trying
Right.
to find plants that finish faster, but go out later. Smaller plants, more manageable plants, but plants that finish fast enough to where I can put them out super late
Right.
and still get them done at a reasonable time where I'm not losing the whole crop because
Right.
mold and rot.
100%. I mean, I had some. I had a plant that finished at the beginning of September, first week in September.
Yep.
It was done.
Yeah.
But I noticed that I've been growing these seeds from they've been given to me from Hawaii,
Yep.
and I
Yeah. I've been.
noticed
Yep.
that
I watched that.
I don't know, the seasons are a little different, but I noticed that
Totally.
they want to flower fast too when they out there.
Yeah.
So
It's funny because
finding
Hawaii.
certain genetics that's from certain areas kind of might help if you're trying to grow outside.
Yeah.
You know.
That plays a huge part that I don't think people realize is when you breed and grow these plants in certain areas, they come. It's not like they totally change and get used to it, but it's like an epigenetic thing to where plants that get used to growing in a certain light hours,
Right.
they get used to that, and that like builds in their genetics. It's like an epigenetic thing that
Right.
over time they get like evolved to. Because in Hawaii, it's a 12, it's like a flower all year round, basically.
Right.
So down there, it's
It
like
might be a little longer in the summer, I think.
yeah, because they got to use lights to keep their plants in veg. So like instead of like if you do a light depth greenhouse, we're trying to we're trying to force them into flower. They're trying to keep them in veg. Like we try to.
They do so much better outside. Those seeds when I grow them, because he bred them outside.
Right, yeah,
When
yeah,
I grew them inside, they struggle.
yeah.
Um, but
That's
um, I, to be honest with you, I believed it hermed inside, and I blame myself. I cloned it before it did it, and then it didn't. But then when I grew it outside, I had no problems at all. You
right.
know what I'm saying? And it
Yeah,
was so much like all four of them were just ready to be done by the end of September.
yeah. And I tell everybody that buy my seeds, I'm not breeding outdoors. Like these
Right,
plants they'll get ran outside and tested outside and stuff like that. But
right,
I'm not breeding for outdoors. I just don't have the space to do. I don't have an outdoors to be breeding with. So all my stuff is meant for
right,
indoors.
right,
Not That's not a hard rule. It's like you can still plant them outside and
right,
do just fine, most likely. But
right,
it's not. My hands are tied to where I can't say 100% confidently that these are your perfect plant for outdoors because they're just bred for indoor
right,
grows. So it's
right,
one of those things where it's if you're breeding for outdoors, you don't know if they're any good indoors, and if you're breeding for indoors, you don't know if they're any good outdoors unless you have indoor and outdoor space to do that breeding work in. So
right, right,
it's one of those things to where like prefer my stuff to do inside because I know what it does indoors, but I love seeing people do it outside because it gives me
right,
the information of which ones are
I will
good
be throwing
outside and
some
stuff
of these
like that.
outside for sure. I will be throwing these outside for sure. You know,
Another
because that I mean,
another cool thing people are getting into in the East Coast, like I know a couple companies are doing them. They're doing the fast flowering the fast flowering photo periods,
right,
which
right,
is which
right.
is just a photo period and auto flower crossed together. So
Okay,
it's still a photo period plant. Like you still got to trigger it into flower
right,
with a 12-12 light cycle. So it's still a photo period plant, but it
right,
has that trait to where it knocks. It's a fast flowering, so it knocks time off of the flowering time. Like I have one that I did that finishes in 45 days inside.
right.
Like the day I switched that light to 12-12, 45 days later, I'm harvesting, and that's inside. That's
That's
like
good.
7 weeks, 6.5, 7 weeks,
Right.
and
That's
I'm like,
good, man.
I've took it 8.5 weeks, and it doesn't. It's not like it does anything crazy. It's like done at 7 weeks.
Right,
Call it a day.
right,
49 days, it's done.
right,
So that's another thing you could play with to get these plants to finish outside up in the East Coast faster.
right,
You know,
right,
there,
right, right.
there's other issues that come along with doing that, but it's just one method of getting plants that don't go late October, because I've had so many times where you push it to mid-October and it's a waste of time. You wasted all summer long on that. You know what I
Right.
mean?
That's when the
And it
rain
happened
starts to
overnight.
come. You know what I mean?
You get
That's
rain
when the rain
one
comes
night and it's
and it's
done.
not warm enough to dry it up in the morning. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
I
So it's
agree
something
with all
it's
of
something
that.
I'm going to be working on this summer. Definitely is just running through a lot of my seeds outside, getting them into as many people's hands as we can, just to get them get some information back on what lines do the best inside, what lines do the best outside. See what kind of see what directions we take for each line.
Oh, that's what's up, man. That's good.
Yeah,
I want to, hey, I want to be a part of it, man. So, I got outdoors out here. If you need something to be experimented, you know how we do. We support each other out here,
absolutely.
you know.
You pop
Um,
whatever seeds you want, man. Like those seeds I sent you,
right,
do whatever you got to do with them, wherever they fit into your whole process. There
right.
it is.
So let me
There it
let me
is.
ask you a
Yeah.
question. Talk to me about this LCG Black Velvet. Um,
Okay. So that comes from Clearwater Genetics. Um, it was their lemon cherry gelato to black velvet, which the black velvet is their in-house cut of Dante's Inferno. I don't know if you've seen pictures going
oh
around of the
yeah,
Dante's Inferno.
I tried to get it and it was I backed off.
Yeah, so the Dante's Inferno, there's a couple people that have found really nice cuts of it. Mile High Dave, he's winning a bunch of cups with it right now.
Right,
But the person that actually bred Dante's Inferno, this is their cut of it. It's called the Black Velvet cut. So it's
right.
Dante's Inferno, but they named their cut Black Velvet.
Got you.
So that seed cross is lemon cherry gelato to black velvet, which
Let's
is
see.
Dante's Inferno.
Right,
So
right,
that plant was the plant that I reversed, with the feminized spray. I reversed that plant and threw it on my select phenos that I keep around in house. So
right.
my favorite plants all got hit with that lemon cherry gelato black velvet pollen.
Got you.
So I took my favorite plants that I pheno hunted over the last 2 or 3 years, and I hit it with the lemon cherry gelato black velvet pollen. And that's kind of how I do my projects. I got very limited space, so I try to spread the net as far as possible and cover the most ground in a short period of time, just because I don't have a whole bunch of space. I'm in a small apartment to where I have very limited space, so I try to cast that net as far as possible and accomplish as much as I can in a short period of time. So the last 2 years have been just pheno hunting, trying to find my favorite cuts, and then I clone those cuts, keep those moms around, and then those get worked into these breeding projects. So then I take my favorite female So lemon cherry gelato black velvet was my favorite plant that I had in house.
Right.
So that was the plant I wanted to reverse to throw onto all my other keeper phenos that I found over the last couple of years. That's
That's
just
all.
kind of how
That's a dope cut right there, man.
yeah, she's a special one. Like, um, it kind of, I kind of have two different styles within. I, I I really truly have a love for the old school stuff, like the sours, chems, OGs, all the old school, really uh, classic smoke.
Right.
But I also have a deep appreciation for all this new stuff because I don't care. Everyone can say that all the new hype stuff it's trash, but I don't fall into that whole hype train, like the whole hating on wheat. I love this plant, man. There ain't nothing off this plant that I'm gonna hate on. Like I love it all.
Right. Right.
But whether it's
Right. Right.
the
Hey,
newest
man,
hype
listen.
or the oldest,
That's why we're speaking, man. I love it too, man. You know what I mean. I could talk about this for hours. You know what I mean.
that
I'm actually amazed. Um, about your work ethic with trying to find that right one. You know what I mean? I see you crossed it with the London marker and with the permanent marker. I
yeah.
mean,
So
I'm waiting to get that in the dirt.
this line's really like more of the new stuff because my last line I did was a lot of like old school work, which was the Black Lime Reserve. So that Black Lime Reserve was more like an old school green flower, wasn't nothing to like show, wasn't very showy, so it wasn't, you know, wasn't like the Instagram weed. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. It was
Right,
for like the people that like the old school smoke. They don't care about how it looks. They care about how it tastes, how it smokes, and how it affects.
right,
So I try to play both. I love both sides of that game. I like the new hype stuff. It's pretty, smells crazy, looks good. You know, all the new stuff is great. So I play both sides. So
right,
this lemon cherry gelato black velvet, that is kind of like that new side. It's the purple candy gas. You hear that all the time in this community. Purple candy gas.
mm.
And
I like gas, man.
that's exactly what it is. It's purple, it's frosty, it's candy, and it's got a lot of gas. So that was exactly why I used it because it's not just purple and no terps, no smell. It's got gas on that. I need gas. That's my main thing. Is like if it doesn't have a loud smell, it just doesn't stay around here. I don't have space for it. It's got to be loud.
Right, right.
That's if you don't got that, you ain't staying in my repertoire of plants. It's not happening. You could be purple or green, doesn't matter. But if you ain't loud, you ain't staying around. That's just as simple as that.
Yeah, listen, I had to write them all down because you know what I
Yeah,
mean. I got to know what I'm working with, and and as I'm writing them down, I'm like, wow, I got pages. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So I think I
yeah,
got about like nine.
yeah,
So I mean, I'm gonna be busy. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? And
yeah. So just to
the
go through,
planting of the grapes sounds like interesting also.
yeah, that Planet of the Grapes is that Planet of the Grapes is actually, I would say, one of my louder plants that I got. Actually, it's a pretty plant. It's not the craziest pretty plant, but it's definitely got look to it. But that one's got the Chem DI 95 in it,
Right,
which is just like you pop that jar open and it just like boom, it hits you in the face. Like
right,
that's what I.
yeah,
Those are the plants I look for. If
right,
it don't blast you in the face when you open the
right,
jar, that's what I pheno hunt for. Is I pheno hunt for that smell and that taste and the effect.
right,
If it has looks, that's a bonus. But if it doesn't have the other three, it's not staying around. You can't just be pretty and have nothing else to you. Like you're just that's putting lipstick on a pig. I don't like that. You know?
Now, how long it took you to kind of understand how to reverse. And
To be honest, dude, it it's crazy because I've been growing for about 10 years now,
right,
and I've always done like breeding, and it's not really breeding, but I've always made my own seeds. I mean, from the first probably year I started growing, just
right,
outside, I'd throw some male pollen onto plants outside and stuff like that.
right,
So back then, though, 10 years ago, there wasn't a lot of information on how to reverse a plant,
right,
like do it the correct way to reverse a plant.
right.
So it wasn't until maybe a year
There's
and a half to
there's
two.
a wrong and there's a right way.
I wouldn't say wrong and right, but there's a I believe there's a better way. Like before, it used to just be grow your plants out as long as you can, push it far past its prime harvest time, and kind of make it herm, but in like a later, take a 8 week strain to
Right,
14 weeks, and you'll
right,
just kind of just force it to throw pollen.
right.
And that was the way they used to make feminized seeds before they started figuring out how to use the sprays.
Got you.
Now that they have sprays to where it's not, you're not kind of abnormally stressing your plant out. It's more of a hormonal change.
Right,
It's like how it's like the human body. If
right,
men have testosterone, women have
right.
estrogen. Like it's like blocking your testosterone and making a human body produce estrogen instead of testosterone. Same
Got
idea within the plant. It's an ethylene blocker is what the feminized spray is. The hormone that you know uh, the female plant has is ethylene. So
Mm-hmm.
when you spray the plant, what it does is it's blocking that hormone from being able to go through the plant.
Got
And
you.
and the plant by nature has X and Y chromosome. So it's got the potential to be a boy and it's got the potential to be a girl. So when you block the hormone for being a girl, it'll produce its male counterpart.
Right,
So plants the reason why plants herm is because it's got X and Y chromosomes within the plant. It can throw male parts and it can throw female parts. So if you
got you.
block the female hormone from producing, the only thing it has left to do is throw, male parts, which is then pollen.
Right,
But that pollen is coming off a female plant, so it's feminized pollen. So it's
right,
just a hormonal. You're messing with the hormones of the plant instead of stressing the plant to get it to throw pollen.
right, right.
So it's not like a
The
stress
stress,
inducer.
won't the stress follow the
Yeah. So like say for example, just to make this kind of easier to understand, say if I'm growing out lemon cherry gelato black velvet, and at week 2 of flower, it throws a herm.
right,
It throws a pollen sac and it seeds out my whole tent. Those
right,
seeds that come from that are going to have a tendency to herm at week 2. Basically, is a good way to understand it. It's like that trait of throwing intersex at week 2 of flower will be passed on to the seeds, no matter what.
right. Family
Now,
Tree said they used the crushed aspirin to make it in the early 2000s.
yeah, yeah. There's a whole bunch of there's so many different things like gibberellic acid and there's just a whole bunch of different stuff that they used to do to try to get plants to throw female pollen and stuff like
Right,
that.
right,
Um,
right.
but now it's just a
Now, when you spray it, what is that about in what week 5? You would say or something like that.
no. So I spray. So the way I mix my own up, it's just a certain ratio that you do of it.
Right,
But so say you're going into flower today, I would have sprayed my plants 5 days ago, and then I would have sprayed today, and then every 3 days after the 12-12 light cycle has changed. So
right,
I spray my plants a week before, basically a week before flower, the day of flower, and then every 3 days after that for about 2 weeks. So I'm spraying them probably, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 times, something like that.
oh,
And then
okay.
you want to stop spraying about week when you start seeing the male parts show up. Just call it week 2. And then so the pollen will start dropping at that point. About 30 days in you'll start seeing some pollen drop out of the sacs and whatnot. So you want to time your plants that are receiving the pollen. You want to have them come into flower about 2 weeks behind the plant that you're reversing.
Right.
So the plant that you're spraying isn't going to drop pollen until day 35. Okay? So the plant that you're going to have that's going to receive that pollen, you want to keep those in veg for 2 weeks and then throw them in, because then you want that to line up. You want your plant that's going to receive the pollen at day 21 is when you want the plant to actually start receiving the pollen. So the plant that's getting the pollen is 2 weeks behind the plant that's getting sprayed.
Got you.
So the plant you spray is going to be on day 35, and the plant that's receiving the pollen is going to be on day 21. That's kind of how, it doesn't have to be exact, but that's just the schedule that I follow to get a good healthy pollination.
At least 2 weeks ahead.
Yeah. Yep. So you want the sprayed plant to be 2 weeks ahead of the plant that's going to receive the pollen. And that's just a rule of thumb to follow. Plants are different too. There's been plants that I've tried reversing and they just won't reverse. They just won't go. They just won't go.
So you store your pollen and
Yeah, I do. I try not to have to do that, but if it comes down to it and like the timing messed up, or something went sideways and the project kind of went off the rails, I'll store the pollen if I have to.
Right.
And the main thing with that is just moisture. If you I store it in the freezer, and either the fridge or the freezer, doesn't really matter. But you just don't want any moisture getting into that pollen. So I'll dry the pollen out for 4 or 5 days, and then I'll put it in one of the seed vials. I'll put the pollen in a seed vial, put a couple grains of rice in there, wrap that up in a bag, put that in another bag, wrap that bag in another bag. You put as many layers between that pollen and the air as you possibly can. And I've had pollen last up to about a year. I've had some pollen. It definitely degrades a little bit.
Right.
And I've heard people store pollen a lot longer than that. But I've had pollen for about a year that I've gotten seeds out of.
Right. Now, talk to me about this Spanish moon that you put.
She's a pretty plant. She's so that one comes from Lovin' in Her Eyes. I had bought 3 packs of it, so I went through about 30 plants of it about a year back, and found my winner cut out of that 30 pack of 3 packs of seeds that I bought. And it's one of the more unique plants that I've come across, in the sense of, I feel like a lot of Lovin' in Her Eyes work is very visually pleasing, and stands out. And it stands out in a way of leaf morphology, stands out in the flower structure. They're plants that are very growing next to everything else, that are very unique. There's something different about them that is very a feminine vibe, almost, to where you could tell they were selected and grown. Very, very pretty plants with a lot of fruity, cherry. It's that maroon color too. It's a maroon, pinkish purples, a lot of purples and pinks and yellows, and real rainbow colored plants. If you're going for something that's got really sweet, fruity terps, that would be one that I would go to. Visually pleasing, bag appeal on Smash. It's some of the prettier flower. In a very, very good, not a huge stretcher. She stays kind of short and squat, but she branches out nice. She's got a lot of branches.
Thank you.
Super nice. Super
Right.
nice plants.
Yeah, I'm interested in that, man, because cousin of mine once had a Spanish plant that sent me the clone, but it just didn't work out. I don't think he understood how to send the clone, and
Yeah,
just left it at that. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah. If
But
you
yeah,
look
I
up,
was thinking. So I was thinking about we should give away one of these packs tonight or something like
let's
that. You know what I mean? Maybe,
do it.
you know what I'm saying? I
I'm
don't
down.
know. I mean, just randomly, you know what I'm saying? I was just thinking somebody might want to grow something. You know what I'm saying? If
Yeah, man,
anybody,
let's do it.
right? If anybody willing to grow something, some of the grow me thing right now, I'm willing to give away a pack.
Let's
Whoever's
do
up in
it.
here, man, just holler at me. First one to holler at me in the DM can
There you
have it.
go. Good way to do it. First DM that shows up in his DMs, they get the pack. That's an easy way to do it.
Right.
And then you
No,
don't got no confusion.
for sure, for
Yeah,
sure. I was
absolutely.
thinking about giving away one of maybe the Planet of the Grapes,
That's a good one, man. That's a really good one.
the Black
Hey,
Velvet cross with the Planet of the
you want
Grapes.
you want me to show you some plants?
Yeah, man. Let me see
Let's
something,
see.
man. For sure.
Yeah. I got this auto pot system that I just hooked up. It's booming.
Yeah, we got them right here. It's coming to you.
Oh,
Oh, okay. I'm gonna check it. I'm one day I know I'm gonna end up getting one of these systems, man. You know what I mean? I
I'm
just
telling you, man. They're
got
the. I didn't
so much
believe the
stuff,
hype.
man. You all right?
They're the growth I'm seeing is just crazy.
Oh, that looks nice. Yeah, that's so so they're still in veg or what's going on?
Yeah, so they're about they're about uh 10 days in flower or something like that. They're just
Oh yeah.
starting to feel
So they
some.
got a lot of stretching to do too.
Yeah, they still got some stretching to do.
I
This one gets like a velvet pink color to it.
see it coming in already.
Yeah,
She she didn't waste no time
no,
to
no, no, no,
show
they
her
don't.
true colors.
Just some veg tents here.
Right? Some clones or
Just a lot of like mother plants and stuff like that. Like all these small clones, these are all mother plants that kind of just need to get transplanted and taking new clones off of, stuff like that.
right. First person hit me up in the DM, man. I gotta give away a pack of the Gromy seeds for you. Constant evolution. He working with me. We working together. You know, I
That's right.
definitely dig it. We've been talking for a while. Oh yeah.
Look
Mm-hmm.
at those resin rails.
Look at that already. All over the leaves. Ooh. It seemed like it's focusing just on sugar and just coating up, protecting itself.
Yeah, it's like it's almost folding into
Right.
itself because it's so
Doesn't want
coated.
nothing coming.
And that's still got 5 weeks or so. This is like week 3 of flower.
Yeah, I can tell. That's tell. It's gonna be look like it's gonna be some nice tight sticky buds when it's all
This one,
done.
this one here is that's a Staten Island diesel. It's a Staten Island chem cross the sour diesel from Katsu.
All right.
So I got a couple more tents over here too. Let's see. This is one of the Black Lime Reserve to purple Afghans that I just bred not too long ago.
Ooh.
Oh, hold on, let me turn the lights down, get a
You
better
need to
color.
get close and I can see the what it's trying to do. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, everything. Might not even have to trim, just let it curl up.
That's right.
You
Super
know what I'm saying?
fast. Yeah. Couple different ones I got here. This is a
Yeah,
Trop Cherry cross here.
definitely appreciate everybody.
Oh yeah, shout out to everybody showing up. Just got a couple clones over here. Couple clones. Whole bunch of seedlings. Now this is where all the seed popping goes on. Got a whole bunch of seeds going on. So I think let's see.
I like how they pop. Oh, yeah, they look hungry. Yeah, that's the Spanish. Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
that's the Spanish Moon, Lemon Cherry Gelato, Black Velvet. Got the RSO. So the RSO is like a Oreo, RS11 to Oreos, across the Lemon Cherry Gelato, Black Velvet.
Right.
So I'll
So,
be growing these right along with you guys. I
for
gotta,
sure.
I gotta start.
And yeah, so we're giving out a pack so they can grow.
Yep,
And also, I was thinking that if if you want, you can join me next week if you want.
let's do it. I'm in.
Then we
Is
can
that,
give away, we can give away another pack. And
I'm in.
we could talk with my Gromy Tico at with the microbes over with the Super T.
Let's do it.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm in.
You in?
I'm in.
We'll give
Yeah,
away
man.
another pack. And whoever's in here today, man, next week, Wednesday, we're gonna be chopping it up with somebody I've been working with the Super T. You know what I mean? We feed in the soil over here, so I don't know if you're interested in feeding the soil, but we're giving away another pack next week. Gonna have Constant Evolution with us.
Yeah, and
And but
that
grow me,
Tico.
yeah, man, sure. You got 9 things, man. Can I ask you some more about some of these strains you got over here?
Fire him off, man.
You
I'm
know what
all
I mean?
ears.
What's up with this Maximum Carnage crossed with the LCG Black Velvet?
So that was actually probably one of my first plants I really fell in love with. Um, Comes from a breeder out in Michigan. Same thing. So with all these plants that I've found, they're all pheno hunted. They're not. I don't just pop one seed and breed it to another plant. These are all pheno hunted plants that they're one out of at least 30, sometimes 40, sometimes 50. And it was the standout of the class. Just rock hard, purple, frosty, your classic pretty flower that and it's got like this super musky, like almost like a dirty basement, musky, funky, chemi type terp, where you smoke it and it lingers on your palate. It's like it coats your mouth in like this real gassy, funky, almost nasty, but in a good way. If anybody knows what I mean by that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but really nice. So that Maximum Carnage, it's a let's see what made Black Velvet. That's a pure Michigan cross to Black Cherry Punch.
Right.
So it's a pure Michigan Black Cherry Punch that makes the Maximum Carnage. So I pheno hunted that, crossed that to the Black Velvet Lemon Cherry Gelato. And though there's one thing in mind when I made that one is like, if you're looking for the hype weed that's going to either move good for you, whatever your case is there, whether it's a commercial facility and you're trying to get rid of it, it's for the market, if that makes sense.
Right.
It's going to be your get rid of it quick flower that ain't going to sit around. Ain't nobody going to bat an eyelash at it. It's going to go. And if it's just for you, you're going to enjoy it. It's a winner all around.
That's what's up. That's
Yeah.
what's up. You know what I like about you, man. The first time I met you, I could just, you know what I mean. I like the way you think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. I think you understand. I think you understand a lot about life besides, growing. I think the combination of everything makes you a great
Yes.
person. You know what I mean. And
What I like to say is like I spend a lot of time with the people in this community, like on the phone, like I'm in the community. I pay attention. I watch all the podcasts. I'm very well like versed in the podcasts and who's in the who's and the what's. a lot of these people fake what they do. Oh,
Right.
I'm just growing I'm just a caregiver.
Right.
This is all for me.
Right.
This is all for me. It's like, stop. We all need to feed our families. You know, like, you can be real about what you do. You don't gotta, like, lie. It's easy to
Right.
see through that
Right.
shit. And
Right.
I can't fake the funk with that. Like, I'm gonna be
Right.
straight up about, I need to put food on my family's plate. Not that
Right.
everything has to be about money. Not that
Right.
I build relationships before I care about money.
Right.
That comes first to me.
Right.
But I can't fake the funk on what, like, we're, we're up against the big dogs, the people that are
Right.
trying to
Right.
take from us to feed their families.
I got you.
I want to fight the big man, the big corporations that are going to come and try to take us out,
Right.
that are trying to clean the craft market out. So we
Right.
got to band together and stop trying to soil versus synthetics, all this bickering back and forth that's just going to spread us apart even more than we are. You
Right.
know,
From the plant.
just,
Right.
just be real about what you're doing. Like, you don't got to expose all your ins and outs, but
Right.
don't put it on like, oh, I'm the holiest person in the world. I come from the black market. Like, that's where I come from. I don't have a license.
I believe a big part of that is to say that my stuff is better. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you can save a lot of energy by just because if you really want something to not work on the other side, is to just not give it the attention at all. You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Yep.
Just because the more you talk about it, the more your attention you'll be
Yeah.
giving it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think people like to talk about it because they're trying to change people's mind and they're trying to get people to look their way. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. There's a
But
lot of
all it does is just create some weird hate. You know what I mean?
yeah. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors. Like,
Right.
they personify one thing, but then behind closed doors, they're totally different.
Right.
You know, on a podcast, or just for example, on podcasts or whatever, they're Mr. Buy the books, da 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 da, but
Right.
then they're shipping packs behind closed doors.
Right.
But they're Mr. Caregiver and trying to medicine and da 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 da. It's like, just be true to yourself first and foremost. You know, I
Right.
believe in all that stuff too. I feel like I'm a craft grower, small
Right.
batch craft grower,
Right.
medicine before money. This plant is medicine before money, but we're in a world where money still needs, I'm not going to sit here and say, I just do this just to, this is, I'm hopefully going to build a business out of this one day to feed my kids.
Right.
Like, that's a
Right.
reality for me. That's
See,
my
right.
dream.
I agree with you 100%, and I also want to add that there's a way of doing it the right way. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
That's
Without
the fine line.
without stepping on anybody, without causing any ruckus. You know what I mean? Just
You
it's a
don't
way
need,
of getting the money, but it's not about getting it, stressing yourself and stressing other people. You know what I
no,
mean?
no, you don't need to step over somebody to get money. There's plenty of money out there to be had. If it, how I see it is, collectively, if we all band together and help one another, just like with me and you.
Right.
I met you out of just chance of running across somebody that I could see being a good helping one another.
Right.
What happened to just helping your neighbor?
Right.
I have neighbors all next to me that I don't even know who they are. I have no idea who they are. They don't talk to me. It's like, what happened to helping one another
Right.
against the greater, powers to be against us?
Right.
What happened to just being friendly and helping someone, and then in
Right.
return helping them back? What's so hard about that?
It's
Where'd that go?
I don't. It's nothing hard about it. You know,
It really
it's
is.
nothing hard about it. You
It,
know, to be honest with you, it's the only way.
yeah, and I feel my theory is, you give enough without expecting anything in return, you will be paid back for that tenfold.
Right.
Just by being a good person and being kind.
Right.
You don't have to be money hungry and greedy. That's a totally different thing. You know, I don't expect to be a millionaire. I expect to be able to feed my family and live a modest life. That's all I ask for.
Right.
You know, and I do that by doing good by others. You know, being friendly to the people around me and helping the community around me to then one day hopefully get that back in return. Just that's how a community should work. We should all support one another. We shouldn't be
Right.
supporting these big businesses feeding their family so they can go on vacation to the Bahamas again or buy their Lamborghini. It's like, you know, we should be all supporting in our community so we can all help each other feed each other's families.
Right. It's
Hopefully
so
one day I'm in a
it's
spot. Hopefully one day I'm in a spot to where I can help someone else's family help someone else feed their family.
right.
Maybe I'm in a position one day to where I could pay that forward.
Right. Right.
And that's all off the back of being kind and being generous to thy neighbors, to the people around you, your community, whoever you surround yourself with. And
Right.
that's just
And a lot of times, I want to say this. A lot of times, helping somebody is helping yourself.
1000%. Couldn't agree more.
Just by taking care of yourself, a lot of times you help out a lot of other people. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? If we all know how to take care of ourselves and to kind of understand our emotions and know how to control ourselves, and not it wouldn't be more people having to want to give or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But the first thing we have to do is understand ourselves and love ourselves.
Absolutely. You can't love nobody else before you love yourself, man. Like that's impossible. I tried to live my younger life like that. You know, I didn't love myself. So how am I supposed to love anyone else around me? It's not
Right.
possible. There's no way to do it. You know, and this plant, for example, this, this plant saved my life in many ways. I was going down a bad path as a young kid. You know, as a old teenager, young adult, I was going down a bad path, doing things I should not have been doing. And this plant was my therapy. I didn't like going, you know, I didn't want to be talking to no therapists. This plant is what gave me my peace of mind. This plant has gave me my life back. It's
Right.
made me a better parent. It's made me a better person. It's made me a better human, you know, and it allows me to give when, you know, I don't have a dime in my pocket. You know, like the 9 to 5 grind, it gives me the ability to give medicine to people that don't have money to get medicine.
That's
So it's given me so much joy and so much happiness, not just growing it, but also
right.
sharing it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
that alone has helped
And
me.
I don't. What I don't. Another thing I don't understand is like it's. I like the fact that I like when working with seeds and growing plants and growing buds, showing your blood and showing your plants. It shouldn't come with any negativity. You know what I mean, or any greed. Um,
Yeah,
do you know how many seeds come off a plant? You know what I mean, like for,
yeah, that's
for a
yeah.
reason.
Let me
You
show
know
you
what I
just an
mean?
example.
Right. For a reason. So, but
That bag
I'm not
alone
saying
right there.
Santa Claus like throw them in the air, throw them. But I'm just saying like there's got to be some type of line where it shouldn't control the way we treat each other.
You
You
know,
know what I'm saying?
you know what really made me start the whole constant evolution genetics was the fact that when I was buying seeds from seed banks, from breeders, that I was getting charged hundreds of dollars for 10 seeds. 10 regular male female seeds, which would really only be 5 females, or, you know,
Right.
with regular seeds, it's like you're only getting X amount of females out of that 10 seeds. and I'm paying hundreds of dollars for that. When I know when you make seeds, you're getting thousands and thousands and thousands of seeds off a plant.
Right.
Why am I paying $100? It just irked me the wrong way. So now to where I make my own seeds, and yes, do I charge for my seeds? Yeah, like I get reimbursed for, the effort. But when someone buys seeds off me, you bet your bottom dollar that you're not going to get just 4 seeds for fucking $50.
Right.
I sent it's a $20 a pack thing, and I'll send 4 or 5 packs along with it.
Right.
Because like I said, I know how much comes off a plant.
Right.
I'm not an idiot.
Right.
What am I paying you $100 for 10 of these? This bag alone has got 1,000 seeds in it. You know what I mean? Like, why am I charging so much? You're buying the brand at that point. You're not buying the seeds. You're buying the brand. And I just don't like that. I mean, for anybody who can get that money, I don't blame them for doing it because they can get it. They've worked hard, I'm sure, to get there. But I'm of the opposite of like, I got so many seeds, I could sell those seeds for a quarter of the price, but sell 10 times more of them and still make the same amount of money. It doesn't have to be a 10 seeds for $100. It doesn't have to be just a price gouge all the way up. It's like this plant produces, like you said, thousands and thousands of seeds.
Right.
There's no need to be charging $10 for one of them. It's just insane. And that was the whole reason why I started breeding. I wanted to get good genetics into people's hands for a reasonable price.
Right.
That's it.
I believe growing them and kind of, I think out of respect, when you grow something and something comes out, you shout out to growing. You know what I'm saying? But I believe that goes a long ways. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because it shows your art spreads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I believe seeds are like art. You know what I mean? This
Yeah.
something you
Yeah.
created personally, and when it gets out, it's kind of like, I'm pretty sure eventually you'll grow an attachment to a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, from the seed, you know what I mean, in many ways, you know what I mean, because things that we've spoken about growing together, you know what I mean, because we're both starting off early
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
on our brand, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
but um I've trying to, I'm building I got a page with the Canada collabs on there, you know what
Yep.
I'm saying? So what I'm trying to do with that page is that I'm trying to help the community spread what they want to spread, like, because it's very hard to get a good algorithm what we doing,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's a
So why aren't we all trying? But it's hard to use your page, to take somebody's stuff and not because I know everybody page is personal.
yeah.
So I figured that I'll spend some time on one. You see it right? It's the Kinnick. So
Can of collab.
there, like, if you got something you want to, it's like if you had something you want a video you want to collaborate with, you know what I mean? The page would be
For
spreading it
collab.
out like basically like a second opportunity for
Yeah.
your stuff to be seen. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
That's a
So
great idea.
I'm trying to help. I'm only trying to work together in order to be able to make everything that we all trying to do work. You know what I mean? For what it
What
is.
we were just talking about is that what that sounds like to me is a community effort to help one another.
Right.
That's what that sounds like to me. A
Right.
collab is me and you working as one to rise, to be better,
Right.
to do, to spread the good word of what we believe as the right thing.
Right.
There's people that believe, craft growers aren't what the community should be about. There's people that believe that big commercial facilities is the way to go. But if you believe, I believe that, having a small knit community, craft community that cares about this plant like myself and like you, we can all help each other to then rise,
Right.
rise up and be better.
For
And
sure.
we can't do it alone. We can't, you can't do it.
Not when we're everything is banned
Yeah.
and we're not being, no one's
No one's treated fairly in this
fairly
community.
in this community. The
Like I
followers aren't
said,
being spread. You're getting your followers by grinding.
yeah, yeah. I get 5 followers and lose 4.
Right. I don't really, what I don't even think about followers. I just think about just showing people who I am, what I do,
Yeah,
and then whatever
absolutely.
falls into place. You know what I'm saying?
And like I said before, there's a lot bigger powers than us that are trying to take us out without us even knowing it. There is, you know what I mean? Like, they don't let us post nothing on these pages. They don't want us here. They're not like cool with us posting all these flower pictures on Instagram. They're deleting accounts left and right.
Right.
There's accounts that got 200 followers that they're just yanking off of Instagram. It's like they don't want us on here, but we all collectively work together to just spread the good word of what we're trying to do and what we love. I do
Right.
this out of love and passion. This is my love and passion, my hobby. This is what I do. I'll spread the word to anybody that'll listen to me.
Right.
Anybody that'll listen, I'll talk to them about this.
Right.
Because this is what I love. This is my passion. It's just like as a kid, every kid has a dream to be a firefighter, astronaut, whatever your dream was. This is my dream. It's been my dream for a long time to be around this plant, to have something to do with this plant, and stop working for the big man. Make my own something out of. Why am I filling someone else's pocket?
Right.
Working 9 to 5, letting my kids go to school all day, when I could be it's just I'm trying to break the mold of this
Right. Well, I
crazy
mean,
world
it
we live
makes
in right
sense
now.
because listen, it makes sense because we need seeds to be able to grow the plant. You know what I mean? So if
Yeah,
your specialty is focusing on making great seeds or making different, whatever your explanation of why you make seeds, I believe it's just you want to be a part of the community. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Without being crushed over, but how do you? The only way we can do that is we work together and
work together.
understanding the same thing,
Yes,
and it keeps coming back to together, right? But
community.
listen, we all have the same issue. We all post. Well, I haven't never posted something that they restricted me or whatever because I've seen it 1,000 times. But we can't do anything but work together.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So then I start thinking of ways of how can they not do it,
yeah,
and it keeps coming back with working together.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
collaborating, and if you got a giveaway or whatever you
Yeah,
doing, we should be sharing. It shouldn't be a big deal. You
yeah,
know what I mean? And it's like, what is this for?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What's the end goal? And really,
Right. Like,
what
what
is
is being on here for?
exactly? And I think another thing I've been really focusing on lately is I do a lot of the stuff online, but I don't have many people. I'm trying to build a community in my local area.
Right.
Like, you got to really, if you want to start making change towards the greater good of what this plant has to offer us, you got to be in your local, you got to have a community not only online, but a community of people around you in person, like really in real life, that can support, that all have the same drive of community and passion and motivation to do the same thing. Like, I'm trying to build a community. There's probably 5 or 6 guys around here that are on Instagram or have an online presence, but also are trying to build local events, local meetups, local
Right.
events and little pop-ups and stuff like that
Right.
to
Right.
build with the whole goal in mind of just networking,
Right.
meeting new people, trying to build a community of people that are small, home grower, craft growers with passion and love over money, and try to succeed in the things that you want to succeed at.
Right.
And
I'm
we got to build our local communities too. Plus, online helps as well. It just spreads reaches places you can't reach in person. So you
right.
got to focus on your local community as well.
Right. Right. I mean, I'm trying to see what I want to take to the community for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like I'm at home and
And
just
it's
trying to
area
figure out what I
dependent.
want to bring out there, and I kind of think I've found it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I work. You know what I mean? I'm full-time worker. You know what I mean? Like I manage and I got a
How many
family.
hours?
You know what I
How
mean?
many
Like,
hours of the day does that take up?
dude, I have so many
It's,
businesses, man. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
got businesses that I don't talk about on here that I'm working on, and it's nothing, and it's not even close to near bragging about nothing, but it's just that understanding that I'm just trying to keep busy. You know what I
and
mean?
I
But
think
I'm
this
gonna
is
be
the whole.
taking it out there for sure.
And I think this is the whole thing when what I was talking about is like, don't fake what you're doing, because what I see when someone says I have a whole bunch of businesses that I'm trying to build, what's the goal of that? My goal with trying to build businesses outside of my 9 to 5 working for somebody else is to be my
Right,
own, to not work for somebody else, to not pad someone else's wallet,
right,
work my life away to pay somebody else.
right,
I want to pay myself to work for myself, to be able to raise my kids without sending them to school for 8 hours a day and seeing
right,
them for 2 hours a night, and that's it. I'm having someone else raise my kids while I go to work for pennies. It's like, I don't like that. That's not how I want to live my life. So
right,
what I try to do outside of work is build something so I don't have to do that. And when I
right,
say don't fake what you're doing, and that's why I said money isn't everything, but it does play a role to where I don't
right,
have to work for somebody else. I want to be able to sell these seeds that I love and I care about and put all my time and energy into. I want to make this the thing that makes me my money so I can live the life that I want to live.
right,
To not work for somebody else, to not be told what to do by somebody else, to not have the finger of somebody else over me at all times. I think that's the goal
right, right,
in all of this. So if we can work together to all, if that's your mindset and you feel that same way, we have to work together, which I don't see many people that are like, oh, let's go to my 9 to 5. I love just working my life away for $18 an hour. I don't think many people think like that.
right.
If you do, then that's cool too, but I don't think like that. I
Yeah,
want to get out of that whole crazy cycle of work your life away
for sure.
until retirement at 75 and
Yeah,
die 5 years later with a retirement. I
right.
don't see that as my way to go off. So I think we
Mm-mm.
got to work together to be able to. If me and you work together, maybe
Yeah,
one day, 10 years down the road, we'll look back at this and go, "Man, that was the best thing we could have ever done."
right,
Me and you meeting each other could have been the best thing we ever done. You
right,
don't know. So in that case, it's like we all have to work together
right.
to not to push each other down and get ahead of somebody, but to help build each other up. That's
I'm with you.
what are we doing this for?
Right.
I
And
think that's
I'm bettering myself so I can be able to be a
yes.
part of it. You know what I mean? So I'm studying, I'm taking notes, and I'm learning, and I'm not being stubborn, and I'm
Yes.
also trying to understand. Period. You know what I mean? How to grow this plant as so it can have its best chance to grow. You know what I mean? So if I
Exactly.
can at least do that, I know that when I pop one of these seeds, I know something's coming out of something here, and then I could
Yeah.
probably make you proud one day.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
that's right.
It's,
That's right.
we're gonna get one of those cuts that they gonna want.
That's
You know what I mean?
right. Yep. Yeah, and that's my favorite part of growing, man, is pheno hunting. Popping a bunch of seeds and finding the best one out of all those seeds. That's why I love pheno hunting.
Right.
I don't care how many seeds it is.
I'll definitely do it for you. You know what I mean? I'll do
Right.
it for you. Because I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I'll do it for you. But
that's right.
I'm a smoker, and I'm like, but I know how much this means to you,
Yeah, yeah,
and I'm I'm clone every single one every time. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Because that's the decision you got to be able to make if you working with people. Listen. If someone's giving you some seeds, right? This is how I see it. And you trying to come up, man. You know, you're working hard on your seeds. You know, I can't just grow a plant and get a magnificent plant and grow it out, and you be like, wow, that shit was crazy. But then did you get a cut from that? And nah, could have been that, one that could have been able to bring to a
Yeah,
competition or something like that. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
That
How
you
do you
know,
feel about that? You don't do you want people to be able to search for something like that through some of your
now
genetics?
okay, so I have kind of two things there. I respect 100% what you just said. Like you feel almost like a duty, you feel a moral duty to like do the right thing for somebody that looked out for you for some seeds, which is 100% commendable, and I appreciate that level of passion and care. I don't expect I don't expect everybody to do that.
Right.
If you cannot do that because you have a busy schedule and you just grow that plan out and take some pictures and send it to me,
I
that's
do.
all I that's
I
all I
do.
care for.
I do. And that's what I listen, but that's why I'm saying it's different now.
Yeah, if you do have time though, and you like me, if breeders did this, say I'm in the position of got some seeds from somebody, you bet your bottom dollar I'm taking clones off each one of those plants, pheno hunting, and backing that up. So if I find something really special, I can either give it back to them and say, hey, do some breeding with this, or hey, I found something really special, something that's, crazy and the next big thing. You never know. It's a lottery ticket, you never know what you're going to get. So that's how I operate. That's just how I do things down here. I have a clone station that I clone every plant before it goes into flower. But I know a ton of people that just grow pop seeds, they grow it out, they chop it, harvest it, smoke it, pop another seed. I will never be mad at you for just
Right.
doing that.
Oh, come
There's
on.
no
Nah.
expectation of like, hey, you need to be
I
taking cuts
but
every single day.
I believe most breeders feel that way.
A lot of the big ones,
A,
they
a
have
lot of
like
them
huge,
and a lot of them are hoping someone keeps something that they
a
find.
lot of that comes from greed. A lot of that's like a greedy thing. Like, do the work for me and I'll just benefit off of it.
Right.
A
Oh,
lot of that is like a do the work for me and then send me the best cut so I don't have to do the work. I've
right.
seen that time and time again. That's why I
You
don't put expectations on my testers. Anybody who's growing my seeds, you do whatever your heart desires. If
I
you
never thought
feel
about it like that. Wow.
Yeah, these people do this. They'll have a space like the size of mine, which isn't big at all, and they'll be sending out thousands of testers, expecting them to do the work to pheno hunt for them, to try to send them back the best cut out of those however many seeds, so they can use that plant to either breed the next thing or sell clones of for $1,000. It's just, it's not right, in my opinion. Is that a way of doing it? Sure, but if you sleep at night doing it that way, good for you. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night knowing that I'm just putting, it just morals. I'm
Right.
a huge morals and value guy. Like
Right.
you do whatever the hell
It
you
comes
want.
with everything, you know what I mean? And it comes
Yeah.
with this community too, you know what I mean? But
If
just
you're
like
that
in every
dedicated,
community, they just always it's people there just they have different
yeah.
intentions.
Now,
And
if
they're not always good.
for example, if you did do that and you took a cut of every seed you popped and found the best one and said, hey, would you like a cut of this back? I did all this work. Would you like a cut of it back? What happens right there is that's you helping me without me like demanding. I'm not going to demand you do that. But if you did that, that would be doing it out of the kindness of your heart to then help me. One hand washes the other.
Right.
So, in that sense, I'm not going to say no, like I'm not going to accept your cut. You know, it's one of those things where it's like I help you, you help me. There's doesn't need to be any animosity between that relationship right there.
Right.
You do whatever the hell you want to do, and if you feel like you want to send a cut back, I'll take it.
Right.
Not going to say no.
Right.
That's how I play my whole seed thing. It's like you do those seeds once they get in your hands. I don't care if you breed them. I don't care if you sell them. I don't care if you have those seeds now. They're your property. I don't have any ownership of this plant. You know, like the seeds are yours. Once they're in your hand, you do what you please with them.
Right. And I do the right thing. So I just want to get that out. You know what I
And
mean?
that
I
speaks
do the right thing.
that speaks to who you are. That
Right.
only benefits you. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like that speaks to who you are as
On
a
this
person.
on this podcast right here.
That
We,
speaks to who we're talking about right now. Is me and you is half decent people that do the right thing instead of trying to be greedy and trying to be,
right.
you know, step over one. I'm not here to try to be better than you and beat you. I'm trying to here to just have a conversation with you and trying to.
Right.
This is
And it feels
what you're
right,
like
man.
to do.
It's just a vibe, man. You know what I mean? Like
It's
it's
a
part of
vibe.
life. Like we live to find good vibes. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And we you know, communicate about the same thing, man. What else can I ask for, man? You know what I'm saying? After a long day's work, ate dinner, and rolled up a blunt, and I'm talking to
Chilling.
a good friend because we
That's
talking
right.
about what we're
Having some
working
good
on. You
smoke.
know what I mean?
Yep. Oh,
Right.
hell yeah, man.
Yeah, man. But make sure y'all check in, man, because listen, let's save some of this for next week, man.
Yeah, we're
We're
gonna do
gonna
more.
we're gonna throw another pack away. You know what I'm saying? Next week we're
Yep.
gonna jump on with Tico, and I really
Should be a
appreciate you,
good one.
man. I really appreciate you. I gotta give you my outro. You know what I mean, y'all go follow the Gromy, man. I'm telling you, like one thing you gotta understand is that you gotta get in right now. You can't wait until shit hit the fan and everything is like, oh, you know what I mean? So get to know people when they working on their craft early and you can see their passion in it early. You know what I mean? Because that's how it is. You know what I'm saying? To me, you know what I mean? People never
That's right.
forget who were there in the beginning. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
And I see something in you. I see you working on something, and I want to be a part of it. And I appreciate you for letting me be a part of it, and I appreciate you for coming on the show and being a humble gentleman.
Thank you. I
I
appreciate it.
appreciate you for coming on next week's too, man.
You do the same thing. Everybody go follow Canica Labs. My boy right here. This is
Go follow
community
Concert
building.
Evolution, man. I
This is
mean,
community building at its finest right here. And let's all keep a good vibe and let's all reach our dreams and goals that we all want to achieve. That's all we can wish for and hope for.
bless.
With that, I will see you next week or next week.
Yeah, we're gonna do it next week, and then you know, I'll probably be around the same time, same day.
Works for me.
All
Just
right,
give me a shout and let me know what time you want to do that.
all right.
All right, brother. Have a good night, man. Peace.
Blessings. Yeah.
Yep.